Hey guys. Hey, it's Bethany here. I'm a homeschool mom of 3 kids, ages 13, 9, and 4. Welcome. Maybe you're finding yourself a bit stressed out because you're trying to figure out this whole educating at home stuff. Am I doing it right? Do they have the right curriculum? Am I starting too soon? Am I starting too late? Oh my gosh, my kid doesn't know his ABCs. But Sal's kid over there knows all of her letters, sounds, and can count to 100. Oh, crap. I have gleaned some valuable knowledge just from various resources as I'm on this more unconventional path of more natural learning. I don't know about you, but I want my child to love learning. So how exactly do we accomplish that? How exactly do we accomplish that? Well, let's talk. So I said I have 3 children, but my youngest is 4 years old. Actually, like 2 months shy of 5 years old, so he's growing. He is in these early stages of development. So I'm going to be completely open and honest and really raw. My child cannot identify all of his letters. He really could care less about sitting down and forming the letters of his name. And we're lucky if he wants to count to 20 on any given day. So there's his developmental process as far as academics go. But you know what? I'm not stressed out. I'm really not even concerned. Why? Because I know it will happen when he is ready. Not when I'm ready, not when some method or philosophy wants to tell me he's ready. I know he will be ready when he is ready. I have 2 others that are older than him, and I've been on a million rabbit trails of trying to come up with the most creative way to force a different concept or a different skill that I think, because I've been told, or it's something that I feel a pressure or stress to need to do, is to force some concept or skill as creatively as I can onto my children. Well, this typically leads to frustration on both ends. I get stressed out, therefore they get stressed out. They start to sense my pressure and my stress, and they get super uptight because they really know, they can sense that if they don't grasp this concept that mom is trying to teach me, then I'm probably going to get uptight and lose my cool. Gone are those days. Thank you, Jesus. So this is a book by John Holt, just an older educational critic, How Children Learn. And I've learned some valuable information in this book. So in this book, Holt states that learning is so natural. It's as natural as a child taking its first step or speaking its first word. Yet we are forcing these strategies on our child in the most unnatural ways. And really what it's doing, it's preventing them from growing and developing into really who they were designed to be, each uniquely in their own way. My 4-year-old son has 0 to little interest in really anything academic at this point. He doesn't really care to sit down and work on worksheets. He has very little interest in the alphabet, learning his letters and sounds, writing his name. Trust me, I've exposed him to this on many different occasions. I still continue to in a very gentle approach, but he much prefers being active, being outside, playing with his RC digger trucks, maneuvering his monster trucks. That is what he likes to do. That is what is so natural to him. So yes, I follow his lead. This is natural to him. And ultimately, it is so beautiful to me as well to see this just naturally unfolding. So as an encouragement to you that are watching, maybe you are researching homeschooling, you're interested in it, or maybe you're already homeschooling and you're just super stressed out, placing so much pressure on yourself, and inadvertently that is just passing that pressure onto your child, and ultimately there is really no effective learning going on in your home. Whatever it is, I know that ultimately all of us just want what is best for our child. I get it. So I've put together just 3 tips that I want to share with you that really have helped me tremendously, just speaking over my life and kind of my guide and how I'm educating my little one during these early developmental years. Number 1, learning can be natural. We should be encouraging our children in these younger years much the same way that we encouraged them when they were beginning to say those first words or taking those first steps. We just looked on our child with such delight as they began to progress and develop during these infant and toddler years. It was such an exciting time. And you know what? We never force these milestones on them. I have so many memories of being just in different environments with other mothers and families that had children at the same age, little babies and toddlers at the same age. And there was always the encouraging reassurances of, don't stress if your child's not saying something right now, or if they're not taking their first step. It's all gonna happen when they're ready. You can remember saying that to another mom. Every baby is just different. Okay, but then the child turns 4, and all of those encouraging reassurances out the window. And all of a sudden, we are just bombarded with comparison and pressure and stress. Oh my gosh, Kate, she knows all her letters and blends and sounds, and she's reading short vowel words. Oh my gosh, that must mean my child needs to be doing the same thing, but he's not ready. When I sit him down to do it, he freaks out, he's super stressed. But if Kate's doing it, my child must be doing that as well. Oh, and then we hear of those parents that are sending their child to pre-kindergarten because we've all been told in order to enter kindergarten, they have to know all of these skills and all of these concepts, because they're not going to be prepared unless they know all of those before they go to kindergarten at the age of 5. I don't know about you, but all of this seems absolutely so unnatural to me. Why have things suddenly changed from that infancy and toddler stage now that they're the age 4 and 5? We're no longer concerned about every child is different or they'll naturally develop in their own timing. So I wanted to share some kind of just an absurd concept to really show how unnatural we're kind of leading our kids into this growth and learning and educating experience. So I'm just going to read this. Suppose we decided that we had to teach children to speak. How would we go about it? First, some committee of experts would analyze speech and break it down into a number of separate speech skills. We would probably say that since speech is made up of sounds, a child must be taught to make all the sounds of his language before he can be taught to speak the language itself. Doubtless, we would list these sounds, easiest and commonest ones first, harder and rarer ones next. Then we would begin to teach infants these sounds, working our way down the list. Perhaps in order not to confuse the child, confuse is an evil word to many educators, we would not let the child hear much ordinary speech, but would only expose him to the sounds we were trying to teach. How absurd is that? But as soon as the child progresses, you find your child at the age 4 and 5 in those pre-kindergarten and kindergarten years. We are so unnaturally forcing these concepts and skills on them. Learning is natural. It is as natural as your child taking that first step. And I have no doubt that my Charlie will grow a desire, grow an interest to start learning the alphabet, to begin to learn to read. But this will all take place when he's ready. You know, some progress much sooner. They have an interest much sooner. There are 4 and 5-year-olds that are so interested in reading, so interested in sitting down and learning these skills at a much younger age because it's natural to them. They are progressing sooner. But their early proficiency cannot, and it is not, intimidating me to force some concept or skill onto him before he is naturally or developmentally ready. You see, I still gently expose these concepts to him. There's always letters, books, numbers. There's always exposure to that in our house on a weekly and on a daily basis. But I will follow his cues on that, and I am not going to force him to sit down, and I cannot force him to grasp this concept before he's ready to learn them. And number 2, the second thing that I like to tell myself, just to keep myself encouraged, is trust myself. You have to trust yourself and trust your child. This can be a scary thing, especially when the homeschool family down the street is doing things totally different than you, or their children are learning things that you're not learning in your home, or they're doing things at a faster rate than you're doing here in your home. Or maybe you are finding out that in the traditional school setting, how long their lessons are, or how the children are sitting down for these long periods of time for structured, busy seat work. You have to take this leap of faith. You have to shut out all that outside noise, and you have to trust yourself. You have to focus in on your child, and you have to listen to that motherly intuition, the same intuition that you honed in on whenever your child was an infant. You knew what your child needed, and you gave that to him. It's the same thing as they have progressed into this early stages of learning. You have to trust them. You have to see them. It is so essential that you remember that each child is so uniquely different. They will develop at various speeds and with differing capacities. No child is the same. You have to use these years to continue to deeply connect relationally. These years are also a time where the foundation of who they are is beginning to be defined. So it's super important to build their confidence through that happy and nurturing interactiveness. We are forcing these concepts and these skills onto them before they are ready. Their confidence will begin to suffer. And now their foundation is just weak. And it's being built on just uncertainty in who they are. And also a fear. All right, and now the last tip number 3, a child's play is a child's work. In this phase of a child's life, play is so important. It is vital to their development. Through play, they are able to grow emotionally, socially, intellectually, and even physically. Play is so important. If they are not allowed this important piece of their development, it could actually imperil further learning. We allow play at this developmental stage, they will actually progress into the next stages with much more confidence, and they will actually relish learning. I actually see this unfolding in my son's development. We have not forced numbers or letters or those types of concepts onto him. We've not forced it. But I will be honest with you, through his development, in this capacity, I've really had to shove aside and push away some fear and doubt that I've noticed come up, because it's really hard whenever you have older children not to compare their progression. And my girls, by this age, they knew them. They knew their letters, they knew the sounds, they could blend words together, but he's just not there. It's super unnatural to him. But I can see as he's developing, and we have not forced any of these concepts on him, how his wheels inside are just they're just spinning. And he's starting to connect some pieces, especially with numbers, where he's learning that he needs this skill to be able to solve this. He needs to be able to count, to know how things progress, how he gets older, or putting things together and counting and adding things up. And it's so special to see this just naturally develop, and the pride that he has in himself when he figures this out on his own. And he's just so happy and so proud. It's such a cool thing to see. I am actually seeing the value that play is taking in his development and his progression of learning. I always let him play over any structured activity. If he'd rather be outside digging than reading, I let him. You see, his play is truly his work, and I do not want to rob him of that. All right, guys, I hope you have been encouraged in some way, in some capacity by watching this video. It is my intention to just share this information and this knowledge and my experience and journey so that I can encourage other people along their journey as well. I enjoy sharing things, parenting, homeschooling, and all things family. So if you're interested in following along, click that subscribe button. All right, guys, catch you next time.